Hello, welcome to this new video. This Colanify India YouTube channel. Welcome to this video. In this new video of SAP FICO module, we're going to learn something different about SAP ERP. SAP has various types of ERP software according to the business size and its turnover in the market, like SAP ECC, and second is SAP S4HANA is the latest for running ERP in the market, and SAP Business One. In short, we can call it SAP B1 application. The SAP Business by Design, the SAP ERP. Still, the businesses are using the SAP ERP, but in the current market in India, the SAP S4HANA is using. The reason is most of the companies were using the SAP ECC in the earlier time in 2014, before 2014, because there are many major changes are happened in the S4 HANA. First one, the SAP has its own database, is HANA database. This is why all the business are migrating its data from ECC to S4 HANA. Okay, so, and third one is business one application. According to the business need and its turnover, the B1 application is used by some of the businesses. So, like this, the business by design is also used by most of the business in India. And in 1979, the SAP had two house of data processing. One is presentation, and another house was application. The combination of application and the database layer. In later in time, in 1992, the R3, the Architect 3, was introduced, where this two database, which was combined here, is now separated into two different house. One is the first one was presentation layer, and second one was application layer. Third is database layer. By the presentation means here it is the graphic data user interface. Means the end user will enter the data here in the presentation layer. Then it will be processing here the application. Then it will be stored in the database. Okay. In the 2018, after next few years, the S4 HANA, HANA means SAP's own database center is HANA. In-memory technology means it's a real-time update game. Okay. Then in the next year, in 2012, the BW powered by S4 HANA. Then another version of SAP. Then next year in 2020, in 2013, the SAP Business powered by S4 HANA, the SAP Business application launched. Okay. So this is the old database system, the old database operation view of SAP. The SAP used to, and this is the layer, is the layer is called in the material study, theoretical study, but I'm here defining it as a house. One room, the room one, the second room, the third room, means house number 1, 2, and 3, and the one compound. Okay, the SAP is a compound, and this transaction process is the one house. The analyze is second house. The accelerate is third house. Okay, so when the data is entered in the first one house is transactional house, then it will be transferred to the analysis house. Then it will be transferred to the same data will transfer to the accelerated house. Here the data will process. Here data will be separated and analyzed, where it will be going and which rack or to which part of the house the data will be stored and accelerated, which will be processed. The by the channel of delivering the data or receiving and delivering, the process was the inherent data latency. Okay, it was the process ELT process. There is a deep discussion in the ELT process, but we have a short time and to discuss about the old system of data processing in SAP. This is why I'm telling here in the short. The ELT process was being used to process the data in the earlier time by the SAP. When the S4HANA came and state the reason why the S4HANA is needed for the current market situation, okay, and how it is benefiting and how it is giving the the certain data processing and certain delivering the reports in a few seconds. Okay, so here the the SAP build its own data West Center is for HANA, and another house was where the transaction, I mean in the transactions will be happen, and the in memory analyze will be happen. So these the both process will be happen within the one house. So this is the smart and the transparency model uh, ERP solution. They bring uh, the transparency and the very smarter way of uh, completing the processing and delivering the data of business entity. In 2014, the SAP Simple Finance powered by again its own database S4HANA. Here the new table was introduced is AC Docker table. AC Docker table is a universal journal table where the AC Docker table is replaced by the many of the tables where the every table has a different types of fields. Okay, so uh, we will discuss about the AC Docker table in the coming videos. For now, the AC Docker table is universal journal. Okay, where many of the departments or many of the organizations will be living from its separate house and entering into a large house. Okay, it is the concept of a AC Docker table, which we call the universal journal. I mean, the process of a five or four departments. Let's understand 4 or 5 departments of work will be done in one large house. Is that AC Docker table? Okay. Then 2015, again S4HANA was completely introduced here. Okay, it's completely and started working from 2015. It brings the simplified data model through universal journal. As I said, the universal journal is a large house where the most of the business segment work will be done here in the large house is a universal journal. Okay, here what the features came out, the simplified data model. Then Fury app was introduced. The Fury app is the mobile user interface application where the the business user will access, will run, and will configure, will make changes, and uh, to enter the data using the Fury application. Okay, using the mobile application. It is the user access, the easy user access platform, the Fury. The multi-tenancy. The multi-tenancy means the tenancy is what we tell you the tenancy, the data tenancy. Okay, the processing, the data delivering and processing, the multi-tenancy, and the platform of the places where the data will be processing, the multi-field of processing. Okay, the choice of deployment. The choice of deployment means there is a three field of deployment. Developing the SAP ERP software and implementing the SAP ERP software. The three types of deployment is given from the SAP. The one is cloud, hybrid, and on-premise. Okay. So on there is a large and life uh, the life changes on-premise deployment is a separate form, a cloud and hybrid. Okay, Then the on-premise deployment is completely different from those these two deployment, cloud and hybrid. Here in this deployment, S4 HANA, uh, the S4 HANA is developed in organization's own database center. Let's take an example. The data groups wants to implement the SAP. The data group deploy would deploy the SAP in its own database center, data groups database center. Then data groups will be given uh, the implementation and configuration and modification control. Okay, it is the reason is uh, the license access, the access of the license software is given to the data groups by the SAP. Okay, and by you with the help of the internal ID team, the data groups can manage the security and governance. Okay, governance means in the intercommunication of the separate um, among the various departments within the organization. This is a security and governance management. Okay, then in cloud deployment, the second one is we can define it. Cloud deployment means the organization is able to run the application and the entire business process in the cloud, whether digital core include finance, costing, sales, purchase, marketing, okay, advertising, promise and prompting. Okay, so and completely we can say the business can be run on cloud. And cloud means virtual cloud, and the like platforms, applications. So this is the cloud deployment. Like e-commerce businesses are running in the cloud, especially. So this is one of the 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 markable example of the cloud deployment business. The two types of deployment in the cloud. One is private, public. So this is the difference. The cloud, the private and public, what the access will be given